go live doen. We're going live. We're live. Hi. Oh yeah? Wait. Yes, now you can talk. En nu dit eens proberen. We're doing a little sound check. Live. Very professional. Zeg eens iets.
Ik hoor u, ben een beetje vertraging.
I think this works.
Okay, I found the glitch. I think. Yes, it's okay now. So, how are you? That was the sound check. Very interesting here. Yeah. We will be talking transcribing again, I guess, because we get, during the week, we get some good questions. We try to address them directly to people, but some are just good questions to address in public and to discuss with you guys. And if you have questions, that's what we try to address in these live talks, because some things are just hard to really explain. You can explain it just one ways, from our side, but I guess you have pretty many times also questions with all the things we say. So if you have them, drop them in the comments. We would love to hear them. Also, who you are and where you're from. That's always fun. So let us hear your name, your country. I don't know if Timothy has anything to add to this fancy opening statement.
Nothing at all, man. You're very welcome, Hoffy. I hope I pronounced your name right.
Oh yeah, the Alan Holdsworth stuff. Yeah. Hi, Ronaldo. I recognize you from many times in the comments section. Hi, good. I don't know if it's evening there. I say good evening because it's evening here, but hi. So we wanted to talk a bit more about why you should transcribe, and this can seem a very silly question, but if we see some of the comments or the questions we get asked, I think we are quite not miles apart from some of you, but it seems like there are a lot of factors that never gets considered, really. It's mostly about ear training, and that's the obvious part, of course, but we think it's so much more than ear training, and your ears are really important nonetheless. I mean, ear training is important, and using your ears well as a musician only, is kind of a superpower, and you can develop it many ways. But there are so many more things. So, hi George, how are you? So let us know at least what you think. What do you think are the benefits of transcribing? I can at least name directly 5, and probably more, but like the 5 biggest ones. Because if you transcribe, I mean, it's pretty much if you never found the time to transcribe, if that was your excuse, I mean, we have a pandemic going on. There's never been a better time to start transcribing. Do I sound a little bit convincing, Timothy?
You certainly convinced me.
But you are the only one that doesn't need to be convinced.
Preaching to the choir.
So is there a favorite of yours, Timothy? I'm also curious. I don't know this answer, guys.
A benefit.
Yeah. What What do you like, or what's the thing you got the most out of all the transcribing, you would say? Is it the ear or is it something else?
Um, it's a little bit of an abstract thing actually. It's like there's sort of a new world that opens up when you really start to figure things out with your ear. Like it's very different if you just look up a sheet and you read what's on the paper and you play it, or when you really dig into the music and you have to do a lot of digging and listening and searching. And but once you find it, it's just a different experience. And I don't know, it gives you a more of an empowering feeling, or you gain more confidence in your ears and your, I don't know,
Oh,
it's
that's a good one. That's like an extra one on top of the five, like confidence. Yeah, but that's a good one. Um you mentioned that because when you said it, I thought like immediately, yes, confidence.
mm,
It does give you confidence in every next step you take, in every next transcription you do,
mm-hmm.
and every next time you go and improvise even. It's with small steps, but it gives you it's like doing, like I always refer to transcription is research or little research paper. If I transcribe a solo and Timothy does the same solo, it's probably a little bit different. Like the note should be the same, but there could be a lot of variations that are important. It's just you notate what you think is there to grab and to analyze the music. Um, so if you do that, actually transcribing a lot is yourself is doing a lot of research, which is needed. I mean, and there's research you can read from others. That's what you guys do with all our transcriptions on the channel, and that certainly has its value. Otherwise, we wouldn't be uh, doing this all the time or keep on doing this. Of course, it has really its value. I do this kind of thing. Yeah, just reading transcriptions. I did it many times before we started the channel, and I still do it. I love it. It's like uh, yeah, reading somebody else's research. I also sometimes read transcriptions that somebody else did, which I also did, and compare just maybe to see if there are just a little bit different angles on the same stuff. So really it opens up your view big time.
mm.
And that gives you confidence. The more you know, the more confidence you gain. So that's a very good one, Timothy.
Yay.
So, guys, please, we want to make this conversation with you guys also because I mean we can keep on talking. That's really not big of a problem, but yeah, just give us some questions if you have them, and otherwise you can just watch. That's fine too, of course. But don't hesitate. There are no bad questions. I think last time there was something also like a question we also kind of get in variations a lot of time, like I did a Michael Brecker solo and the first chorus took me 4 hours, and yeah, kind of I stopped because it takes such a long time. So should I keep going? Something like that, right,
Mm-hmm.
Timothy? That was last time or 2 times ago. And it was kind of, yeah, it's just not working. It took me 4 times. That was at least the connotation. And we think like 4 hours, great. If this is your first solo, a Michael Brecker transcription,
Yeah, man.
that's it takes time. It does take time,
Yeah.
but that's why you learn a lot from it. And every difficult step you took yourself, and you could kind of fix yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There, you fixed yourself as a musician. I think I think I talk for myself. You can address that for yourself in a minute, Timothy. But I had many points of not breakdowns, but many points of where I could have stopped a transcription. Was quite easy to have stopped there.
Mm.
There are a few that come to mind. One of them was almost a year ago when I did the Pick Up the Pieces solo by James Carter, and there is this, he does this circular breathing thing with a lot of overtones, and I kind of knew what he was doing. That wasn't the problem, but getting it, onto paper seemed also a little bit ridiculous. I actually know exactly the date it was, because it was 31st of December. It was like about New Year's Eve. My wife was already preparing. It was like 6 7 in the evening, like most people were probably gathering, for, I mean, it was pre-pandemic, so we're gathering for a nice evening, and I was listening to a slow down of some ugly overtone stuff, and doing it on repeat and trying to make sense out of it.
I think
I kind of wanted to.
I think I was
Yeah,
there
sorry.
actually. Probably.
It could be, yeah. You came in because we were, yeah. Timothy came in for we were here on we were celebrating. We're easygoing guys, but New Year's Eve together, and yeah, I think Timothy came in while when I was still, I was kind of in a trance to try to put this. I wanted to put it down and onto paper, and on the other hand, I really didn't. I felt at a point it's such a cool solo, but at that point, that section felt like I know the trick, kind of. I know the fingering he's using, and he's kind of overblowing stuff and goes even out of tune, and it really doesn't make sense to put the pitches. So I could easily have stopped because it didn't really make sense. But in the end, when it all came to just one piece, I was really satisfied. I don't know why. It all made sense. It gave a really big oversight, a meta oversight that I did put in that complete part. Maybe even if it makes sense or not. And there were even some squeaks and the rapid finger movement, and then you do everything actually with your lips. And how do you notate that I made something out of it? Just to like break the barrier, and there was lots of cool stuff that I could write down. It's dealing with that kind of stuff and being having things that frustrate you, and when you can tackle those, that makes you really, there you make the best gains. It's like working out when it did when it hurt. I mean, that were probably the most working ones for you. It's really like that. We cannot do the work for you. It's nice that you can read some transcriptions, but to really get all the benefits out of it, you need to do it yourself. And I know you heard this probably a lot of times, but kind of try to keep the picture in mind that you will get frustrated lots of times, but that's a good thing. That's really, I know it's not nice at the moment, but just remember at the moment you feel like that, that's a good thing, because then you're working on really learning new things. Kind of putting onto paper, transcribing stuff that goes easy. Cool. I mean, you gain a bit of insight, but you learn more from the hard things. I don't know how it's for you, Timothy.
Yeah, no, it's the same. I did have some transcriptions that I sort of abandoned, but not because I didn't want to put it on paper anymore, but like there were too many like sort of mistakes in the performance itself. So too many dead notes or too much fumbling, and like it's just a bit frustrating to really go through all of that if it's just too much. If it's, yeah, there's always some error or fumbled note or dead note in a solo. I don't think I ever came across a solo that didn't have any mistakes in it. But like at some point it's just too much, and it doesn't feel like it's worth all the trouble of fighting through all the mistakes that and getting it on paper. Like, so those do occur, but there have been plenty of other solos that were just hard to figure out, and I had to tackle it on separate days and just or skip that section that was frustrating me and just keep it at the end on a separate day and just take 1 hour for these 2 bars or whatever. It doesn't matter how long it takes actually. It really doesn't.
No, for me also it doesn't feel like sometimes. I mean, if you get into the zone for transcribing, like I said, like on last year's New Year's Eve, I was in the zone. Then it's even hard to stop. You go from that point to that point to that point. It's all micro points. I mean, guys, I sometimes go just one beat or at the time and really kind of listen to it over and over, try to loop it in Transcribe, that software, Transcribe exclamation mark. But I also try to loop it in my head after that. I think that's the you can use all the software, but in the end, that's where you really get to. If you can loop it in your head, then you know it, then you really hear it. So it doesn't make sense to just loop it only in Transcribe. You also need to kind of, how do you call this? You had a pretty a way of saying it, like you picture the phrase, but picture, I mean, it's audible, so you visualize.
One term I know is audiation.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. You audiate.
Yeah.
It sounds so. Yeah, okay. You audiate.
But like in the end, that's the skill that's gonna develop. Like Transcribe is already as good at it as it's gonna get at looping a certain phrase. But that's if you try to listen it back in your head, that's ultimately the thing that you're gonna get better at. And you're gonna get faster at that, and that's what's gonna help you in training your ear, actually, because your imagination will get better.
Yeah, absolutely. So really try to go for that internal loop in your head. It sounds really weird if I say it like that. It sounds like a madman, but really go for the loops in your head with music, and then try to just, if you can make every phrase, how long or short it is, if you can do the transcribe thing, you slow it down to any tempo, with secureness, then you know that you hear it right. I mean, you have to check it if you hear it right, of course, but that's the first step really to do. There's no other way around it. So that's that. Yeah, I think kind of we got up an alley that now kind of I don't know if it leads anywhere. So guys, please, let us know if this makes sense or if this doesn't, or if you have maybe your own suggestions. We had some last week, some good suggestions. So yes, so we really want you to transcribe more. Also yourself, I mean, keep also subscribed, or subscribe if you haven't yet. I mean, that would mean a lot to us. That's, what keeps us going. Otherwise, then then we just delete the channel and all the transcriptions. No, that's not true. But yes.
But
so
like we're also, if you're not sure about a transcription or you're not sure about what to transcribe, you can pick something we've done and just have a go for yourself, and then you can check.
Oh yeah.
With what we did, maybe you found something we missed or
sure,
whatever. But that's.
By the way, maybe I'll tell you just a little story about maybe how it got started. I don't know. Probably my first real transcription was, unfortunately, Michael Brecker transcription, which was probably way too high aimed at that moment. I was 16, I think. Was still in high school. We did a project in high school where we could, kind of write a paper about the topic you liked. I did kind of a preparatory for conservatory in high school. Hard to explain. It's kind of a specific thing you can do in Belgium, like high school with arts integrated. And there you could choose a topic. I did Michael Brecker and the fusion jazz. I was really into Michael Brecker and fusion jazz. I still am, but I chose a solo by Michael Brecker on strap hanging with the WDR big band. So what a part of that was transcribing that solo, trying to play it also, and put that in this research paper. Wow, it took me so long, guys. By the way, now up on the channel, I kind of revisited it. There were plenty of mistakes, or yeah, there were quite some mistakes in it. I don't have to make it better. It was like, I would say 92% accurate, probably maybe a bit more, but the thing was I couldn't get past the point. There is a point in that recording where the WDR big band has backings and they're pretty loud, and I really couldn't decipher what was happening. It was like, so I stopped at that point and I just transcribed it until where I could get it. So the very fun part was it took me a lot of time when I was 16, 17 to do that. And I revisited it like, I don't know how many years ago, like 4 or something. Can look how long it's up on our channel, but something like that. So that must have been about 8 years in between, 8 years later. And then I discovered quite some mistakes, fixed them, and I came to that part where the WDR big band came with the backings, and where I was just sure when I was 16, like, you cannot hear it. It's just overblown, literally, by the big band and the how it's mixed. And I listened to it 8 years later, and it was just quite clear what Michael Brecker played in between. The big band was there, but I don't know. I could kind of separate sounds like 100 times better. That was a really strange experience because I would have thought that it was pretty impossible. You know, even if you had the best ears, it was just covered by volume. That, you know, that was the main excuse at that moment. No, probably just my ears were totally not that developed yet. So that was a fun finding, actually. So I think your ears also just get, sometimes transcriptions and recordings are messy at some points, like really messy. But also training your ear apparently helps you to separate sounds and timbres and yeah, that kind of thing. And that's a new thing that I probably never would have expected. So it does that too. That's even one of the benefits that isn't included in what I had in mind with the 5 benefits we mentioned. So there are even plenty more. I don't know what you can do wrong with transcribing. I think it's pretty much every minute spent makes sense, guys.
Yeah, it's probably, it does, it is kind of a cliche, but it is kind of the best thing you can do.
It's cliche. It's so cliche. What's holding people back here, if I may ask? Put your excuses in the comments. No. No, if you have like, why aren't you transcribing? Like, a lot of people know they should be transcribing, like they kind of understand it cognitively, but aren't. And I just wonder what it would be. Or maybe the other question would be, are you transcribing? Maybe you are transcribing. What are you transcribing? Would love to know. Or what did you already transcribe in your life? So drop that in the comments, guys. I really would like to know what you transcribed and what your findings were. Like, did you learn anything with it, or did you think it was a lot of BS and you could have done way better things with your life?
I think.
Yes.
No, I think A misconception may be like you transcribe one solo and magically you have absorbed new vocabulary and it just flows out of you when you just transcribe a solo or something like that.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing. Like you have practiced one time 2 hours, and now you're playing like Michael Brecker or like, yeah, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I think
Or
I know
I know.
it's something I kind of sort of can remember um, associating transcribing with like you transcribe to get vocabulary, and if you transcribe you'll get vocabulary and you'll get better at implementing vocabulary, and always it's always vocabulary. But
Yes, that's one of my, I started to write a ultimate transcription guide, and these 5 benefits are in there, and that's actually my last point because I think it's the least important. I know a lot of people would agree, and it depends on your goals, and it would probably have been way higher up the list when I was 16, 17, 18, 19 than now. I'm 28, guys, almost 29. If you were wondering, and Timothy is almost 31 this week. So, yes, getting old. I'm feeling really old.
Oh, yeah.
But not really. But where was I?
You're old.
But what was before?
That's a symptom, you know.
That's a symptom, yeah. I have a very, very short-term memory. I lost
it. Vocabulary.
And
it was more important when you were younger.
Yes. Because then I really liked, I liked phrases, and it was as simple as I wanted to transcribe the phrases and then learn the lick in 12 keys. And then play them in my own solos. So that's quite clear. That was the easiest thing to do also, when you start which is okay to do, by the way. I don't really judge that, but I did it all the time back then. If you're starting out, you need some vocabulary. But after a point, you try to develop more, maybe your own sound, and then you just go differently about transcriptions. You just go more into what was he thinking there. That's more interesting to me. What was kind of the concept? Why was he playing what he was playing? Why do I like what I like? If you know what I mean. So I had a very good teacher that kind of opened my eyes on this. So I would come with like one of these licks, like the exact lick, like I like this. Okay, cool. Can you play it? Yes, I can play it in 12 keys. Okay, he was not really impressed. And now, okay, but why do you like this line? Why did you learn it in 12 keys? Yeah, because it's a good line. Yeah, okay, I know it's a good line, but why is it a good line to you? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that's not really an answer to my question. Why does it sound good? I don't know. So yeah, then it makes you think. Why does it sound good? Okay, he helped me a bit. Like, you can go melodically. What happens melodically? Oh well, he's maybe doing, I don't know, he's doing a lot of chromaticism. Okay, chromaticism, but what more? Yeah, he's hitting also some nice just chord notes on the downbeat, but just the chromaticism on the offbeat. Okay, that's already better. So it's probably a bebop line. Oh, okay, that's what they do in bebop. Or something else. You see a certain scale in the line, or a certain pattern he's going in fourths, and then it doesn't really matter what he's playing in fourths. You just go like, oh, it's fourths, and how does he use it over that G7 chord? Then oh, that's I don't know, A flat, D flat, F sharp, something like that, going up like, oh, I want to know what really the purpose of that line was. And then you go more into depth about what the line was all about in the first place, and then you completely forget about the original line, more or less. So that's the fun thing, you know. Um, so yeah, there it got really fun for me, and there it all opened up to way more things, to kind of going for my own sound. That was one thing. Composition, because I mean, you're kind of learning what you like about lines, and that could be melodies if you practice to conceptualize um, the music you're transcribing. So that was nice as well. Very good exercise also for improvisation if you go and improvise, you compose with it. So it all added up from there, and then I thought like the vocabulary thing was like kind of the least important. I do once in a while kind of try. No, I kind of side read my transcriptions if I even do. I play them probably. I would like to play them more, but I don't have time. So I quite like mostly when I've transcribed a transcription, I think, ah, cool, that's happening here, and I like that, and that's that makes sense, cool, okay, next. I can comprehend what I like, and then I don't see always the point uh, of really copying it. It yeah. Lately, I found it interesting to do some Alan Holdsworth stuff, to copy it because it really didn't make sense on saxophone. It didn't go in natural places on saxophone, and that opened a lot of things up by just copying it. So that's early stages, but it all depends on what you want to get out of it, of course. So yeah, I don't know if that makes. So what did we have as benefits? Yeah, the ear training part, and we mentioned a few things that um, like it's not only ear training, it's like the, what was the name again?
Audiation.
The audiation. Um,
The confidence.
the confidence, it's extremely important because guys, I guess we are kind of circulating and people will watch a bit. So guys, if you're just joining us, please let us know from where you are. We would love to know. If you have questions also for us, just in general, or about transcription, or if we say something weird, or or just add um, to the conversation, really, if you feel like, add to the conversation. Let us know if you are transcribing, or if you are not transcribing, why you aren't yet transcribing, so we can kick your ass the right way. um, um, am I scaring everybody away? um, so yes, the confidence, but also what I mentioned with the Michael Brecker solo, that was like 8 years separate from when I was 16 to when I was 24, 25. You just recognize you can separate tracks way better. You can separate sounds way better. It's like you're a organic equalizer, kind of. It really helps, and that does really help also with live playing, by the way, guys. It totally does.
Yeah, your awareness just increases by 1,000.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of overstate that. Man, we are like all the time finding other stuff than I prepared with the 5 benefits. It has so many more benefits. Yes, your awareness, but it's all hard to really get across these kind of things, Timothy. I think like you kind of have to experience it. We can say it helps with your awareness, and that's, it helps when you've done 20 transcriptions. It helps even more when you've done 80, and even more when I think I'm at 100, in the tens something.
Yeah.
I lost count. I'm not really counting. I did it once a while back, so I'm kind of guessing here. But it's hard to really, to really explain how it adds up. Or do you have some thoughts about that thing
No,
too?
no, no. I was just thinking like there was a time where I didn't transcribe at all either. But now
Me too. I don't remember that. I cannot really
but
vision it anymore. But
no, but that's what I wanted to say now. Like I can't imagine not transcribing anymore. Like it just become part of it's just what you do.
mhm. But that's also what you kind of need for practicing. By the way, if it's transcribing, I would make transcribing a part of your practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are not transcribing, also practicing is just, it doesn't need to be powered by, yes, a bit long-term goals, external long-term goals. Of course, you have to love it, and you have to want to go for some certain sound you like, maybe some guys you really like on your instrument or on other instruments, of course. But it doesn't have to be every time you go and practice that it needs to be an external motivation. It needs to be something you do every day. Also on the bad days, especially on the bad days, I would say. You show up, That's the thing about practicing. Go about motivation once in a while and listen to music that motivate you, and maybe, and put it on if you kind of need it, but it shouldn't be every day. If you want to reach a goal, then you have to kind of know that you have to show up every day. But that sounds maybe a bit harsh, a bit severe, and a bit.
I don't know about you, but when I really had this clear thing in my head of that's what I want or what I want to be able to do or whatever, most days were pretty easy to show up. Like I didn't have many days
Mm-hmm.
that were like not today. There were days
No,
like
but
that, but they were less.
no, but I think in the kind of early stages, it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
You make also more visible progress, so that helps. Everything you start is easier at the beginning to make visible progress. I did a bit of, learning how to play drums. You you one day you cannot do one thing, and then you learn the paradiddle and sounds like kind of cool. Then you could do like whoa, that's completely new. Then you could do a fill in. So it adds up quite quickly. But if you have a certain, if you go deep into it and you're already, I don't know where you are, by the way, guys. Yeah, who's here? Who considers himself here rather a beginner, who a more intermediate, and who more advanced? That would be also nice to know. So let us know that. Drop that in the comments, please, if you would like to do that. So that we know a little bit better whom we are addressing. So there are many viewpoints. So from starter, intermediate, or kind of at a professional level, it's just harder to notice the progress sometimes, and then it can get more frustrating.
Yes. I think it's also, well, if I just self analyze a little bit, like, it's kind of the same thing that we discussed last week. Like, if you hit a goal, like, it's kind of hard to go for that new goal or to see a new goal like instantly, or if it's like a bigger thing, like, I don't know.
It probably also gets more vague in
Yeah.
like in the beginning. It's like, I want to know this song, I want to know to play this solo, and then you have to learn techniques and stuff. And now it's more like, if I take something from myself, I want to develop kind of just a recognizable sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really to the point. By the way, hi, minor 7 sharp 5. We were talking, by the way, about, yeah, that's also cool, advanced transcriber, but more about playing level, like
Yeah, just general.
who's here. Yeah, like, but also it's also good to know if you're like advanced transcriber or medium or soft. Uh, so yeah, so it can get harder. It's harder to drop out, I think, but it's just a habit you need to make practicing, or at least being occupied with facets of music. If you're serious about it, by the way, that's why I was asking. If you're kind of more on a neutral ground, you just like to learn about it, but you want to keep it.
Yeah, that's another distinction to make. If you just like to play music, but it's not like your goal
Sure,
to
that's
to make it a
fine too.
profession of it, then yeah.
That's totally fine too, right? I mean, but it also there you probably might need some kind of goals. You kind of have to know the direction, not the exact goal, what it will. I mean, you need to give yourself a direction. Otherwise, it's hard to get clear progress. And progress as a improvising musician is kind of hard to measure sometimes. What is good improvisation? I don't know. Ornette Coleman? He was famous. Is that kind of your yardstick? It's all about yardsticks, by the way. If you talk about taste and taste with other musicians, I know a lot of people can argue about taste, but talk about what are the other guys and your yardsticks by which you measure good music. Just a little tip of little bit of advice. I if I just always start with that, or like before that, I could get frustrated with these kind of discussions of different tastes. But when I do now, make sure that I ask the other guy or other guys what the yardsticks are by which they determine what good taste in music is or what good music is. It makes more sense. You can talk on a certain, you can find the common ground, and you need to find the common ground. I see you're thinking, Timothy.
Yeah,
it's quite obvious.
I had a couple of thoughts. No, I found another benefit of transcribing. It can give you work. Are you reading or are you thinking?
I was reading and then I was trying to remember the question you were addressing.
No, I wasn't addressing a question. I just remembered another benefit that wasn't part of the list.
Oh, okay. Yes. So what was the benefit? No, I forgot the benefit.
It can get you work. Like, I occasionally assist like a composer, as you know. Now, I don't have any projects going with him, but like he specifically asked me to transcribe something because he knew I had this
orchestral, right?
No, this was a piano recording, piano and and voice. It was like a recording from, I don't know, 1933 on this little record, and it was it was such a shitty quality, but you just you get hired to do that. The guy is paying you to do it, so you just, I don't know, fight through it and you manage to get something out of it. But
yeah, and by the way, they are also hiring now Timothy once in a while to edit videos.
Oh yes.
All the stuff you learn by doing a YouTube channel. Yeah, but it never hurts to have more skills.
No.
I mean, I actually kind of like that too. It all takes quite some time. You have to put in the time, otherwise it won't work. I mean, it's not. I don't know any magic potions for getting a better ear fast, getting better at your instrument fast, getting editing techniques fast. It's not happening. Nothing goes really fast or whatever you call fast, but that's to be determined. But I was reading a question from Minor 7 Sharp. That's a long name. I know. That's kind of ironic uh, coming from Sharp 11 music. But the ability to create strong melody is important. Um,
Yes.
but then I would ask, what's strong melody? Timothy, what's strong melody?
Dude. It's you know, in some composition books you will find some even in those books they say that they will provide some guidelines for creating melodies, but in the end it depends on the ability of the composer himself. So it's such a vague and uh, I don't know, ethereal thing. You
Yes.
can you really define what makes a melody good? It has
Yeah, that was.
like probably multiple what you call it, hooks or motifs, melodically, rhythmically. It probably has stepwise motion with a little bit of leaps, or maybe I don't know. No, it's
So no one note samba.
uh, well, is that a melody?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. No, but that was kind of the point. It's sometimes really hard. It's hard to come to an agreement about what a good. I know some would describe it as you could sing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
That are sometimes arguments for what is a good melody, but I'm not sure. I mean, also there, I think melody has a purpose. I see melody and every composition for that matter as it has its purpose. Sometimes the melody doesn't has the purpose to really kind of have hooks or be very clear about its intent,
Mm-hmm.
or it's clear about its intent but not clear in like that it's very repeatable, or like I don't think some skunk funk was written to be aimed at that everybody would say is a beautiful melody. No, but really, I like not I really dig the tune. I really dig the tune, but I wouldn't describe it as a beautiful melody.
Mm-hmm.
I would describe it as a surprising melody, adventurous melody. That's all words that come to mind, but not beautiful, and also not very singable. My mother can't sing some skunk funk. She can sing Frozen though,
Ah,
or anything that comes on the radio probably, but not some skunk funk.
now minor 7 sharp 5 did say strong melody, so not necessarily beautiful. Now
Oh,
he did
strong
say
melody, yeah.
outlining the melody, outlining the changes, so you can hear changes even if there's no chords playing the changes.
Yeah, but you couldn't imagine the changes of some skunk funk if you never heard the tune and you just heard the melody. Because that's what happens when you do like polytonal stuff.
Yes, that's I know what he means though.
Of course, I mean, sorry, you're actually putting very good points, but the the thing here is kind of it's if you look at if you take just a stance at any side, it kind of you can just fiddle a little bit with the description or yeah
But yeah, it's
the
like
term.
if you play all the things you are, then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can simply outline the the changes. If you're going to play, if you have to play over poly cards, then it's gonna be a bit difficult.
Hmm. So that was a good exercise, but
It's
I see you
doable.
have more thoughts.
What? Sorry?
I see you have more
Oh, I
thoughts.
was thinking
Timothy's
about the
very clear what he's thinking. He's almost Rodin.
Yes.
There wasn't only that fist against the head.
No, I was just thinking about the outlining polycards, which is also doable, but it just gets, like you said, the harmony is so vague in itself. It just becomes a bit more abstract if you would hear that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a point with my stream of thought here. It
Is there anybody else that has kind of these kind of, what's a good melody for you? I would love to know that actually, because like said earlier, it's really different. And for me, it can vary. Like, I don't have a set parameter.
mm-mm.
For me, sometimes I love just one motif that gets developed very well. Sometimes I love a melody that doesn't repeat. Also the opposite. It has its value in different contexts. That's it, really. Context that matters. Like Chick Corea talked about composition is for him a bit a game, and he makes up the rules for the game, and the musicians kind of play the game. So I thought that was kind of a fun analogy. Really, I know I kind of enforced some not so nice chord progressions on Timothy. Like whenever I really have fun with coming up with strange chord progressions, kind of, and I think mostly I think like really not to that I don't want to play over it, but I think whoa, this would sound cool with a guitar on it. And then I have complaining Timothy, um, but he always does great. He complains more about it when practicing than when he plays it.
That
Check out the happy ending on my album. That was not. Yeah, that's a little bit. On the other hand, I love difficult chord progressions, so it means you can also do whatever you want. Kind.
yeah, sort of. I that progression and my own thing I did with crossing over.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's, by the way,
yeah.
there he gave me the very hard part with the very hard chords. So it's clear, like we like to figure out some difficult chord progressions, but we don't like to play it over it ourselves.
No, but it's like you have to find something that works to play over it. Like a certain way, or this need that. How do I put it?
Sometimes a common scale, like if you have like
Yeah, or in a particular style, like you can't play a bebop kind of lick on like on the crossing over thing, because it's so sussy.
is a tune, by the way, we are
Yeah,
mentioning.
it's the tune. Like it has so many sus chords and open kind of voicings.
I hate
it's
sus chords.
yeah,
No,
it's
I
just
don't hate.
hard.
I love sus chords, but for some reason, I don't know. It doesn't feel satisfying improvising over it, even when I hit all the right notes. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
how do you create a strong melody on that?
Art. Yeah.
Oh, the progression on what we're talking about now is I kind of reharmonized giant steps.
Yeah, I kind of like the little bit the story is like I had a cool lesson from my main teacher at conservatory about giant steps and kind of using substitute cards to kind of smoothen out the line. Yeah, the line, like that you don't have to jump like this. I wanted to play more horizontal over it, and it was so cool, really, to learn that. And I told about that to Timothy, like the concepts. It's pretty much all the dominant cards. You substitute the 5 dominant for the 2 minor, like the connected 2 minor. So you get B major, A minor 7 instead of D7 to G, F, B flat, E flat. So you get just a sequence in the beginning, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that was the if I knew about it back then.
Anyways,
Doesn't matter. It's giant steps, but just different.
yeah, we talked about substitute cards, and then Timothy came with a very cool tune, which is kind of soulful in the beginning, very open, spacey. I love it. Just on one chord, and it has a B part where it goes into all those crazy chords. And then he said, "I take the vamp on the one chord, and you take the hard chords live." And what mostly happens then is that, like, I see a lot of chords, so I play a lot of notes.
I did play my own full solo on my recital.
Oh yeah, that's true. I have to credit you for that. No, but so we are getting quite off track
Yeah,
here.
I don't know how we got here, actually.
Yeah, never mind.
Doesn't matter.
But that's good melodies. That was
right.
So, but what makes good melodies? What makes a good solo? Why do you like a solo? That was kind of the point. Why do you like? Try to envision for a moment one of the cooler licks you heard, like something that really. I'll mention one that I never would have mentioned. Wasn't it that I just heard something of from Toto today, which I never do, but that reminded me of the Steve Lukather lick at the end of Rosanna.
Mm-hmm.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like the triplety bouncy lick with some chromaticism in it. Yeah, why do I like it? It's because it has a little bit, it's in a pop sense, so it has some chromaticism, really opens it. You don't expect it. That's something I like. He has, I think, I don't know the lick so well. I heard a few times and thought, wow. So I kind of can portray it, but probably my memory will have a little bit of glitches. But kind of it has the offbeat triplet or like kind of a cross rhythm in it by how the notes are mentioned, like the higher notes. No?
I'm not sure.
You have
anymore.
kind of a bouncy feel, so maybe that wasn't the best example at all if I can't remember it correctly. But it has a rhythmic component. That's always something you can go for. What like do I like something rhythmically about it? Do I like something melodically about it? Maybe I like both different steps about it. There was like I'll give you a better example. A very silly thing. I like bebop. I like bebop solos. They're quite, very 8-note based. I like Cannonball because he mixes up the phrasing and he adds a lot of, rhythmic component to it. But he also played once, very linear, and he played one double note in the 8-note line. I cannot sing, but I will do it to kind of give the idea, but was like I don't know what it was. I cannot sing. Doesn't matter. It wasn't really that line, but I just knew. I can remember like the day was yesterday that there is this double note, and he did this more times I think, and every time I would hear like that, just that double same note, I thought it was really cool. I don't know. It added something to the line. You're always hearing 8 notes, kind of like a train going, in some of those solos, and then one time just a repeated note kind of stops, like freezes a bit the motion there. So I practice playing 8 note lines, whatever, over blues, rhythmic changes, and practiced on, yeah, adding in some double notes.
Mm-hmm.
Can be on the downbeat. Then you also can try it on the offbeat. That's also nice. Like then it shifts like completely. So cool. You have some components you do, and you didn't copy the line, so it gets more um, into your own kind of style. I'll actually your own style, your taste is just a compilation of, yeah, or your style is a compilation of your taste.
Yeah, pretty much.
If that makes sense.
Also, like the I think it's the second time you sort of mentioned that, like, you conceptualize something and it's something you can just implement in your playing instead of copying exactly a line how it's played.
Yes.
You just
That would also make way more sense artistically, because that's no offense, and I don't claim like I'm like anything of a great saxophone player with a really unique sound or anything. Like, don't take my playing per se for it. But I would say a lot of players, if it's saxophone or even guitar, follow the same tradition, kind of end up taking kind of the same road, and end up being up all the same alley. And some of the guys that do take some other approaches, I think this could be an approach. They just get a little bit more of a personal sound. I don't know if you agree. I know, like, guys, check out Timothy's Instagram if you have Instagram. He is really unique in his sound. I really can't compare any. Maybe I don't know enough good guitar players, but I really cannot, not remotely think of anybody that kind of resembles it. And that's because of you. Yeah, you're really into uh, metal, and you came into the jazz thing, and then you got into orchestral stuff, and already that combination added up. You got also into electronic stuff, like electronic sounds and weird intervals, and I don't know where that came from. Maybe from one of the before mentioned ones, probably. But all that adds up to something already. Sometimes if you take just two different things, it already adds up to a very, very different thing. And you had really a cocktail of old things. By the way, hi John Shkamnakis. Sorry if I butchered your name. Hi from Greece. Wow, I assume it's much warmer there than here in Belgium. You enjoy transcribing Ornette solos. That's something you don't see rather much, but cool, very cool. They don't even need chord progression. Oh, oh. But that's a different purpose of wanting to know what Ornette is doing. He's also not really playing to chord progression, so it doesn't make sense to go. Yeah, he thinks more abstract in terms of intervals or sounds or impacts in high, low contrast, like a little bit more abstract ideas. So that's cool. You could get those ideas out of it, I'm sure. I don't know if you've ever tried that. And thanks, Ruben, um, as a guitarist and transcriber. Cool. What do you transcribe, Ruben? What kind of stuff? I mean, it could be jazz, but it could be anything. It doesn't have to be jazz, really. We transcribed jazz, but also quite some other things, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did.
I did.
I sometimes also transcribe, sometimes even pop songs, which I don't put on radio at all because I don't really dig it. But if I do like something, I sometimes there's just one chord to the next chord that I like, then I note the name or I try to Shazam it, and I want to know it. If you like something, then you want to know what it is. So the biggest downside of conservatory, especially in the Netherlands, is everybody is in the so-called New York jazz here. It depends on probably which conservatory. We were in Maastricht in the Netherlands. Some guys were into that. Other guys were into complete different kind of stuff.
Yeah, it kind of
I think
depends on the teacher
schools,
you have.
yeah, the teacher, yeah, exactly. Main teacher a lot, and also a bit the school. We were into fusion and still are, and Timothy into metal, and he played a kind of metal-ish recital or master.
Yes.
Was fun. It's really loud.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Aiden Eason is really, really cool. I don't know the tune by Holzert. Maybe Timothy.
I think I know which one that is. Oh, yeah. I think I do.
Can't know all.
There's a lot of music out there.
There's, yeah, certainly. So, cool that you uploaded transcription minor 7 sharp. I'm going to call you just sharpie 5. That's easier. Oh, cool, guys. So there are more. Yeah, sure. Post them on your YouTube channels. I just really would like to see that. Yeah, it's kind of getting just an open source. I mean, internet is kind of a open source anyways, but it's crazy, right? That what you can find, by the way, in transcriptions on the internet. I know when I was, getting into soprano, I loved Sting's or Bramford's Englishman in New York. And I know I really, at that point, I couldn't transcribe. I didn't feel like I could do it. So I was young, like 14, I don't know, 15, 16, something there. I searched the web. The web was there, but there were no real. Yeah, I found one half transcription of it on the internet that wasn't very good. But and now there's kind of, you find everything. Like there were so many pieces and solos I wanted to learn, but you found maybe here and there one, and then I was really happy, by the way. Or a lead sheet, like I was into the Brecker brothers. I found the Abersold with a few of the Brecker brothers, like Sponge. I loved the tune. Like the first part, I didn't know what was going on. I still remember, finding that those lead sheets, the chords and the melody, and printing it out was like, I think 12 at night was. I had to get up for school in the morning, high school, but I just went from my room upstairs, downstairs to the basement where the piano was, just straight away past my parents, and they wanted me to stay in bed. Just going straight without explanation to the piano, just to check out what it was, like that crazy stern melody on those weird sus chords. No, I know what it kind of is, but then I didn't know it was sus chords. So yeah, do you know Timothy on Nyrek more?
I think I've seen the name before, but I don't really know it now. Sorry.
Still a lot we can check out. So we do also try to check out stuff, or dear subscribers or just people that comment mention. I found certainly very interesting stuff by doing that. So thanks for mentioning. You can always mention some more. We try when we can manage, to listen to some of it. Yeah, if you hear a little bit of a gap, we are reading comments. Yeah, I don't know where you were at the conservatory minor. No, Sharpie 5. I would
Sharpie
say
5.
Sharpie 5 is another Sharpie gate. No. Um, but yeah, mostly I know like conservatory or kind of schools and like they are mostly a little bit more towards a classic jazz style. Um, but it doesn't really matter, I think. Yeah, some schools are way more open in the Netherlands. That's for me Rotterdam. They have some really cool. You can play even Latin music there, like really as a study, or flamenco, even world music as subdivided um, stuff. So that's cool. And yeah, we like fusion. We play fusion. We will do a live stream, by the way. Probably normally, yes, it will be.
If all
It
goes
should
well.
be if all goes well. But we always have to talk with two words there for live streaming. But we are kind of getting everything ready, even like professional guys to film it and mix it and send out the right master signal. But it still has to work at a cool venue in April. We don't know how many people will be allowed due to COVID, but that's the point why we wanted to make it a live stream. And so you guys can check out also what we do. That's, by the way, something we kind of, um, yeah, agreed we wanted to do back a little bit more. We'll stay transcribing the same. That will kind of keep going on the Mondays, but we want to also do a bit more of our own music. That's why we transcribe in the end, also to share it with you guys, but it's also because we learn stuff with it. Otherwise, this would be very bad use of time. No, that's not totally true. We really like that you guys like it, but um, it just takes a lot of time, of course, to keep up with it. It doesn't make us almost any money at the moment for the last 4 years. It's only, I don't know, we spent like weeks, total weeks, months of our lives transcribing. Um, but it's cool. We get better in it, and we learn from it, and we try to apply it to our own music. So that is something we will be doing, probably also more here and there, not all, but on the channel just for fun. And we have a band called the Sharp 11 Electric Band. If you maybe saw, we posted a few tunes a year ago. We did a album a year ago with a great timing, with a great album release right into pandemic. uh, but we will try. That's what we are trying to kind of kickstart again. We will do a live show, a cool live show in April 17th of April. That's
Oh,
8.
17.
So,
Okay.
oh, you had the wrong date,
Yeah,
Timothy.
we still have 5 months to go, so I'll be
Oh,
there. I'll be
that's
there.
okay, cool. So
Do you consider possible to distinguish the guitar position by the string quality? In general, yes. So you do well. It depends. If it's with a distorted sound, it's a bit more difficult to hear. But I can most of the time kind of judge where in which position somebody's playing, or like open strings are pretty obvious. Um, Also, some jazz guitars they are a bit more muffled and woofy overall, so that's also a bit harder to hear if it's higher up the neck or lower. But I do try to pay attention to that if I can't see where someone's playing. If it's just a recording, then I do try to keep that in mind and listen for that.
by the way, Sharpie 5. Yes, That's cool to see that you love Fusion too. Yeah, Chicoria Electric Band is, besides Brecker Brothers, probably all what got it started for me, for real, to want to do this for a living, um, become a professional musician. And by the way, there is something fun happening right now. We are tracking and doing a reharm of a pop tune, the Chick Way, which will hopefully make a fun thing. Um, yeah, Timothy, you're still recording it.
Yes, I still have to go for it.
Um,
Who is more annoying to transcribe, Gambale or Holdsworth? They're both annoying in their own way. Like, I think Holdsworth is. Well, I've done more Holdsworth than Gambale. Gambale can sound a bit messy. I know most of the time which sweeps he's using. But Holdsworth is pretty annoying in terms of timing. So his rhythm is like really. It's like
swerving.
It's what?
Swerving.
Yeah, swerving, and that's pretty annoying to really write down.
Well, Holdsworth, is that a good point to start?
It's a very ambitious point to start.
But it's cool. I mean, even if your first transcription or second or 10th or whatever beginning to transcribe means for you, even if it takes really long, like I said, I got in the end so much out of even doing a transcription I actually couldn't finish even. And then, do it now. And if you try to, it's sometimes hard to look at the longer project, but do this. Try to kind of finish it, even if you feel like you made a lot of mistakes, and then revisit it in 2-3 years and see what you hear. Read through your transcription and see what you hear then. I will almost promise you will hear different kind of things if you stay with doing these kind of things in music. Not if you take a break for 3 years, of course, but no, do the hard thing. Don't go only about. Try to find a balance. Sometimes, did you ever, who has ever here read the book Flow? That's a very interesting book. How to get in a flow state, and how it's. Read the book. It's up there somewhere, by the way, with an author with a very, very difficult name I cannot pronounce. But basically, what you want to do when getting into a flow, and we all probably know what that is or experienced it when I get into a flow a lot when I transcribe. I don't know for you, Timothy, but that's when you do a task or something, a task at hand that is kind of challenging, right outside your comfort zone. So not too easy. Then it can't get into flow. Then it's just boring. That's something called boring. So also, just really above your, like, just a tiny tad about what your abilities are. That's maybe the best place to aim, and also not too far above what your abilities are, because then you just get annoyed and you quit. It's like when you play a game of tennis. What's the most fun? Not to play against somebody that is way worse than you, that is really, really bad, and you win every point. That's not fun. Also not fun to play against Roger Federer or Djokovic, or I don't know, somebody who's probably a million times better than you, and you don't win a point. It's fun to play against somebody that's as good as you, or maybe even that is like just a tiny bit better than you are at that point, because it makes for a challenge. So try. Yeah, Flow is the book mentioned. That's the name of the book. It's really, really cool. I would really suggest it. It's not about musicians there, but it's just describing what it is, the state of flow, and it's, I think, very relevant for musicians and certainly jazz musicians when improvising. That's also, by the way, a topic we were discussing, maybe doing on one of the live streams. Yeah, we read quite some books or are reading when we can. Uh, just books about music, but also about sometimes, yeah, these kind of just psychology things that just help you with also which aren't directly onto music, but just really help you in life, but also with music and flow from. I'll try to read his name. His first name is Mihaly Sikins Mihaly something. Yes,
Something like that.
yes, that. Do you know why I avoided pronouncing the name? Thank you for putting it up, Narvis. so oh, thanks, Matteo. Really nice of you. So I think we're kind of, yeah, we're maybe getting to an end point for this week. We are doing this every week, by the way, guys. Now, at least still this year, so the coming 4 weeks, something. Um, let us know if there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or bring up, and we want you to be part, of course, of the discussion. So I think that would be fun a lot, since we don't have anything other to do. No, that's not true. That's really totally not true. Actually, I really need even to go to bed because I have a 8-year-old boy that just
8 months
is awake. Well, 8 months, right? Good. Yeah, you see what it does. Was awake at 5 a.m. So yes, he doesn't wait. Yes, about the same time next week, right, Timothy? We are kind of now. This is the third time we are doing it, and yeah, it will be. I don't know where you live, but we're Central European time, so it was our 8th we started. The week before we did 7:30, but it will be either 7:30 or 8.
Yes.
Around that time at least. Sometimes we have some technical stuff we still need to manage. A live stream looks easy. Yeah, we are getting better. We are still learning this game. Any plans for Discord? Well, we had one.
We tried that, but it kind of crashed and burned.
No, yeah, it's kind of. It was cool, but
yeah, you need quite some people in there to really make it work.
To make it really, yeah, engaging, or like some people were asking questions, but it was a little bit for us to one-sided, and then so sometimes a lot of questions by one or two persons, but it was cooler when it would be kind of community, and that we could certainly answer questions, but that people were discussing it together. So maybe we'll think of that again in the future. I mean, we are trying things, and sometimes that's why we now try to do the live streams at least 6 weeks. I cannot even talk anymore. 6 weeks, just to try it out, and not 1 or 2. You never can say something just from testing it once or 2 times. So maybe we should do this once again. Who knows? It's not that it's at that end. No. At that point, was like year or 2 years ago, it didn't really work. How did I manage to notate that James Carter solo? I think you just came in late because I talked quite a bit about that one. It's hard to answer really directly. Like, how did I manage to? You just get focused. You get in the flow. Like I said, like it was so much in the flow that it was 31st of December, and Timothy was coming in for celebrating
New Year's.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. And my wife was cooking and putting everybody here around, outside. I could watch the neighbors all getting started, and I was in the zone. So then you don't stop transcribing. It's hard to stop transcribing. But yeah, I just went for it. At a point I thought like it's not possible to notate, and then I made the decision. everything is possible, or at least it's my terms. It's just my transcription. I try to notate it as I think it's the best to make sense of, at least the goal. Sometimes I also don't think it makes sense to do it really accurate. If it's like, I mean, people delay their lines or just are a little bit, if you are take it exactly, uh, mathematically are a little bit late in time or mess up, or it's not really mess up, but I wouldn't call it a mess up, but it's just not exact rhythms when they are improvising. But sometimes I just correct for that if I see what the idea is. That helps. I go for the goal, not for what is mathematically the right notation. Keep focused from one beat to the next beat. Really, that's all the things that with those kind of hard transcriptions I try to do, and the micro and the zoom out thing, if that makes sense. And even when I thought like this is not possible to notate, I invented just my own thing with writing a full note with a, I don't know, I found like a block note in the so it didn't look like a normal note, and I wrote above that what the actual technique there was, because it was not really playing actual pitches. So I found my ways to get through the obstacles, basically.
Figure it out.
Yeah, kind of invented it. Or yeah, it sounds it's not so cool. I mean, it sounds cooler than it is, but just do something. I mean, just it doesn't really matter so much in the end. If I could have stopped there, and why? All the 90 other % stuff was really interesting. Should I have stopped there and not have done that because of a few weird techniques that aren't really I forgot who it was. Sorry, your name. That was somebody was transcribing Ornette Coleman. I mean, he will have to be kind of a little bit creative with how he notates it, I'm guessing. Do you have recommendations on music notation bugs? Do you have, Timothy? I don't have. I see a lot of words notation stuff even published in legal official books.
I know there's one book called Behind Bars, I think. That's what I read is it's like the Bible of notation. But I don't have it personally. I actually don't have any books on notation. I just know the rules that were given to me. Just always see the middle of the bar and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to see the, and it's more important than that it's clear. I watched yesterday a masterclass by Dave Weckl, where he was actually explaining that he worked with the Jerry Hay horns. I think we have quite some guitar players now here, which is no problem. But if you don't know Jerry Hay, it's like the most important arranger and trumpet players for horn section stuff. You know, they're on Dirty Loops album, they're on Michael Jackson's albums, they're on Toto, all the famous stuff, studio stuff, and they are on Dave Weckl's first one. And he said like Jerry Hay made very clear in the first, like those first that first session for the first CD, like if you want to have like 8 note and a 16 ta ta for the horns, but you want to have the first note also short, like ta ta, like that, they would write it like the computer would also probably, if you have MIDI and MIDI writes it out, it will notate it, which is correct, perfectly mathematically correct. Like 16 note, 2 16th rest, and a 16 note, or worse, 16 note, 8 note rest, and a 16th note. But Jerry Hay told Dave Weckl, don't write it like that. Never, just write it 8 note, dotted 8 note, and a 16th, and then put the staccato mark behind the beneath the note. That's way more clear when you're reading music to kind of communicate what you want than just dividing it and chopping it up. And that's so microscopic division that it makes it just really hard to read. So I thought that was a cool little story, but I totally agree with that. And if you're a horn player, certainly, and you have kind of you have to read a lot of single note lines. So I guess we have also quite some guitar players joining here. So you're more, you get, but you also get, of course, chords with rhythmic notation. You also want to see some nice, divisions, and that it just reads smoothly. And yeah, if that makes sense. Yes, we need some fuelers. Thank you, Sharpie5. That's something you're doing. So, um, yeah, thanks, Ruben. By the way, we also would love to see the streams grow a bit. We love talking transcriptions and notating music and improvisation, fusion, anything you want us to discuss. How to practice. Yeah, we get a lot of comments now. We have over 200 videos at least, and also transcriptions, I think. Yes, certainly we both have more than 100, so that must be, I even didn't count. You can tell. So but so there come, like every day we have some comments coming in, and we try to read them. I try to respond, and Timothy does also, but it's sometimes hard to really kind of respond appropriately or in depth with text, if it makes sense. Maybe we should even just kind of, I should copy some of the comments, and also kind of we could address them just so you can see how it makes sense. I keep also getting like, what gear do you use? Like now lately a bit on soprano, because I did a soprano thing, which is really fun, and I can just by how it's typed or how it's kind of phrased, the sentence, read that people expect. Like if I say what my mouthpiece and saxophone is, that they will sound like that too. Not that I claim that my sound is so great or something, but like you're quite, and I even don't know how to respond, and I will share that. I mean, that's the good thing to do there. I mean, and I totally want to share that. That's no problem. But then there are so many other things I'm thinking at the same moment, kind of advice I want to give with the mouthpiece brand and brand of saxophone, that makes way more sense, I think, for your development as a musician. So, yeah. Over transcribing, that's a good topic, Timothy.
Yes, that is a good topic.
You never know, Ornet's page. Yeah. I mean, I'm you're a hero, man, for doing that. I never would start with it, but cool, really cool that you do it. You can use the abstract way of like classical saxophone notation. If you ever saw the notation of that, I don't know, Timothy. It's more sketches so. Like, and techniques, and like breathe here and suck here your horn. That sounds really bad. Maybe we get now removed by YouTube, but a question for Timothy.
Yes, I don't know that tune actually. I have to check it out.
Oh, yeah, I know it. Don't you know that one? That's with Patitucci, and it's the really laid back thing. It's like with a corny melody, but he plays it really.
No.
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 Okay.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, it's the most like it's like that's the game. That's like the plan of that song. I thought it's fun. Otherwise, if it would be in time, for me, it would personally be a little bit too corny. But because they do it so laid back, it has some twist, and that's nice. So yeah, guys, I think we'll kind of wrap it up. Really nice to meet you guys and to get those questions, to get the chance to address them.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll be there if you can make it. Be there next week. Also, leave us some input about which topics you'd like to talk about. That would be nice.
Mhm.
We have some. TPT. We have a few written down, and we have some, but it's totally just random, so it doesn't really matter. We can talk music, anything you'd like. Reharmonization, that's actually like a little bit secret fun part by me that I really love to do. I just really have fun in putting existing melodies in different contexts. That's what I do now for a hobby, probably for fun. So Timothy does a lot of the orchestration. You're doing conducting courses, right?
Yes. Very interesting. And yeah, it's a whole new rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But it's very
So-
interesting. It's very, very eye-opening as well. And the only things I'm reading right now are scores. No books, just scores.
That's also nice.
Yes.
That's also kind of, ideation.
Yes.
Some really good ideation. Yeah, everything music really. There's a lot of jazz involved here on the channel, but we just like, that's another topic for another time. But we talked a bit about why you like what you like, but also how you could get to like more music than you probably do now, if that makes sense. You know what I mean, huh, Timothy?
I know what you mean.
Like, if you just kind of know what you like, why you like it, then you would be surprised which other kind of types of music you would maybe dig too. By knowing that from jazz, coming from jazz, probably I listened to that the most when I was around 18, 19, 20. I didn't like a lot of other styles, really, to be honest. Like electronic stuff was not really for me at that point. Pop stuff was not for me. Classical, not so much. Did a lot of that, like in music academy of analyzing stuff, and I don't know. I didn't feel it there. But then, if you start to see what you like in transcriptions, for example, if you like rhythmic stuff, and you like odd meter stuff, then the connection is quite obvious to some other genres, but can also be a little bit less obvious. I like Paul Desmond, but I do love Michael Brecker for very obviously very different reasons. And they give me both. I would consider them both equally important. That's just that's just a little bit of a opener to that. I don't know if it makes sense. Yeah, I like rhythms. Timothy loves that too, I think.
Yes.
Because I didn't really like metal, but Timothy showed me metal that was cool. Something that I would have called myself crazy on, that I would ever maybe like, kind of, or even folk kind of stuff, or anything really. If you love something for a certain reason. So that's something for our next time, probably. We'll wrap it up here, Timothy. Thank you for joining.
Yes. Are you thanking me?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a polite thing to
Well,
do.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. But you're not interviewing each other, right? Anyway, really fun, guys. Hope to see you next time. Let's get this into a thing.
Yes.
Invite your friends. And then we'll see you next week. And you'll see a next transcription tomorrow, I think.
Yes.
And the interview with Jens Larsen. probably coming up soon.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. It was quite long, the talk we did, so I hope Jens can manage to kind of make it into something manageable.
Yes,
So
we'll see.
okay, guys. Have a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are.
Yes.
And we are off for now.
Bye-bye. Hoppa.